Hey guys, it's Vince from CG Vinyl Studio. I'm going to cover in detail in this video some questions that I keep getting asked. Right now, through my eBay store, again, I'm dealing with people from all walks of life and everybody that wants to get involved in printing or doing their own digital media. They each have their own concerns as far as what laminates to use, what projects they're using them on, and I'm just going to make this quick video hopefully to educate you guys on the different variances that are available and what I would go with in my own applications for some of the questions that have been asked, and hopefully it'll relate to you. If you do have a question that isn't answered in this video, please don't be afraid to message me. I'll put a link to the eBay store that you can reach me at, and we can cover those questions in detail as you send them to me. So I'm going to just jump right in and let you guys know that this Formax Printing Solutions I am not associated with in any way. I'm not being compensated by them. I don't know who they are. I simply found this article that they made, and I'm one of them type of people that I don't see regurgitating same information that's already available online. I'd rather just discuss it with you and let you guys do your own homework as I did, and you can find this information, go over it yourself. And I can honestly tell you that while they're discussing just printing on different types of photo type paper media, vinyl is no different. Any substrate you print on with an inkjet or a printer in general, the big thing to realize is that the substrate itself is basically all the same in the sense that the ink is being applied to it. Once you want to protect that for duration, and in our case with our inkjet printers, we have a lot of variables that we deal with for durability, namely UV light. The UV rays just play havoc on the prints. So again, over laminate is a must on top of waterproofing. If you're looking at extended durability outside, over lamination is a must. Okay, and I want to just cover in detail a couple things about this site. They were nice enough to go into full detail about how is lamination film measured. You can read this yourself, but I'm just going to cover it right here because again, I don't know who I'm talking to, whether it be novice or advanced, so everybody is on the same page because some of this terminology is different. Excuse me, and to cover it in detail and let everybody know so everybody's on the same page is going to help you guys in the long run when you start reading these terms and really understand what you're purchasing. So lamination film is measured in mil thickness. 1 mil is equal to 1,000th of an inch. Okay, guys, 1,000 of an inch, I don't have to tell you. If you just broke it down, that would mean that there's 1,000 parts to 1 inch. So if you were actually doing that measurement, it's less than the thickness of a human hair. Okay, we're talking super thin stuff. Even the thinnest type over laminates, they're usually at about 1.5 mil. Some are slightly thinner than that. Honestly, the only reason to use an over laminate with that kind of thickness would be if you're looking really for maximum flexibility. But to be quite honest with you, to use a film at that thickness level is actually a waste of money, and I'll explain why. When you apply a liquid coating, which there are liquid coatings out that do relatively the same thing as a physical laminate, liquid coating you can actually easily acquire that level of thickness with a couple coats, if not one coat of over laminate type liquid coating in the sense of a paint. So when you think of it in that perspective, you always want to break it down to what's most cost effective for your application. First of all, nothing will flex like a liquid coating. So if you really want to know about simplicity, liquid coatings at a thickness of, in this case, 1.5 mil, which would be equivalent of 1.5 thousandths, again, even if you cut that half mil off, you're not going to notice a difference in durability, and you are going to notice a big difference in the price tag of buying the film as versus buying a liquid sealant for the print. So again, over laminates, you really just have to break down in what you're looking for application. Okay, I would much rather spray a liquid coating to get that 1,000th coating over it than I would to actually buy a 1,000 thickness film and try to apply it cleanly over the actual artwork. Because if you break it down, there's always going to be more work involved when you start dealing with physical over lamination. Okay, usually cold lamination, and again, there's two terms. You have cold and hot. Hot lamination is where heat actually seals the image. Cold lamination is where it's just basically rolled on the image. Okay, and that's basically what everyone else does. It's where you basically put the over lamination film on, you press it down firmly, and again, it seals on the image, pressing out all the air and bubbles and so forth, and that's what gives you your art. So as we go through this, now that we know that the thickness levels and how it's measured in mils, You got 3 mil here, which is 3,000. You can see they're breaking it down 5 mil and 5,000 and 10 mil. Naturally, if you're using any type of overlaminate for outdoor use, durability is the big thing. Durability in both physical sense, so that you're not worried about scratches and marring in the physical sense from maybe a branch or someone rubbing against it, but you're also concerned more or less with UV protection, which again, ultraviolet rays on vinyl will destroy it virtually in a very, very short period of time, especially when you're dealing with printed vinyl. In that instance, we only carry the mid-grade type overlaminate. So if you're looking at 3 mil to 5 mil, ours is, I believe, 4.5 mil. We're in that in-between ratio. That's going to protect you at a much, much higher level in the sense of the 1 mil. So again, you're kind of in between. You're still not going to have the maximum amount of flexibility of the 1 mil or even the 3 mil, but you are going to have a maximum, I would say, mid-range level of UV protection in a maximum format for physical durability. So again, it's finding that happy level of what's applicable to your personal project. If you have a project that you're doing outside and you're really concerned with maximum durability, the 10 mil film is going to be your best friend. Now, that being said, prices vary based on the overlaminate you're picking. If you haven't already noticed that, I seriously suggest you do your homework, and as you cover it, you're going to find in detail that overlaminates range in price vastly. And again, it's all based on the quality. And I'm going to cover quality in a minute because there's a lot of questions about quality of films. What film do I carry? And I'm going to cover it in a real layman term kind of setup that you guys, I think, all will relate to. Overall, overlaminates are pretty simple. Again, find one that's applicable to what you like. Myself personally, I like using liquid overlaminates because, again, most overlaminates that are outside, unless you're doing bumper stickers where they're going to get wet consistently and they're in just a miserable environment outside, they're exposed to salts and different debris on the road and stuff like that, then realistically a 4.5 mil overlaminate is going to be more than enough. UV protection, more than enough. Durability as far as years and warranties in that, I'm going to save that for the second half of this video, which I'm about to cover shortly. And overall, you guys now have got a great feel for overlamination and which way to go. I will say this, if you're looking for simplicity, once again, a liquid overlaminate is probably the hardest to beat. Once you prep the film properly and you do go with a liquid overlaminate, whether it be, and this is my preferable term, is a spray, because it puts a nice even coat on, I would definitely recommend you look at that and check out, because that's definitely going to give you a very, very streamlined process to you protecting your prints. Now, that being said, if you don't mind investing the time and the money, because again, once you start dealing with film overlaminates, you're dealing with a much more durable product, but you're also paying for that as well, then you can look into that and see which way you want to go with that as far as what's applicable to your project and budget. Again, it will take a little more work to apply. Painting for me is much, much faster in certain applications. If you're doing graphics, if you're doing just general graphics, not too much worried about outside durability other than UV, of course. A liquid laminate still is probably going to be one of your best bets. If you're looking for maximum durability and maximum strength, UV protection, then of course, the thicker the overlaminate you go with, of course, that UV light and rays have to penetrate it. So the thicker it is, the harder it is to penetrate, and the longer, again, your print should last in theory. And why I said in theory is that's going to bring me to the other end. And again, you can read this article right here. It is. I'm going to give you a link to this, floormaxprinting.com. You can read this article yourself. I'm just brushing through it and basically covering in detail what most questions will be asked. Again, and just so you guys know, 10 mil thickness overlaminate, they do have even thicker overlaminate if you require it. I will say this though, once you look at the prices of what overlaminate costs, you have to really ask yourself which way is the better way to go in terms of application of substrates, because sometimes you might be able to buy just a better class of vinyl rather than use a heavier grade overlaminate to give you that outdoor durability you're looking for to save some money there as well. So just to give you guys a heads up. The question now comes, and the secondary questions I get constantly are vinyl warranties. What's the quality of my vinyl compared to other vinyl? And what's really interesting, and this I want you guys to understand, Sign Warehouse, which is probably one of the biggest distributors online of different vinyl products and vinyl cutters and so forth, they cover in detail how to choose the right vinyl for your vinyl signs. And what this article is all based on is outdoor durability for vinyl signs. Once again, I'm not going to go through the entire article. I'm going to brush through some things that I want to bring to your attention and just really make you understand that there is some misinformation out there. I want to clarify again that this link will be on the actual video, so you can go back to this link and check it out yourself. Overall, calendared PVC, they cover cast PVC, metallized polyester, again, different substrates, all for different types of effects. I'm not going to go into too much of that. What I want to go into is this BS that seems to be really polluting the internet in the sense of vinyl warranties. Guys, vinyl warranties are more or less a farce. And why I tell you that is Oracle, all of these top-end brands, SIL. If you read here, and this is really an interesting article. Applying vinyl vertically, the big asterisk or why you need to insert the words up to. Okay? You guys got to really check this out because it's really interesting and it really sums up how much misinformation is actually out there when people are reading this and thinking they're giving people certain warranties. They actually aren't giving them much of anything. If you read right here this quote, the outdoor durability statement for Avery 700 high performance vinyl stipulates vertical exposure is 6 years. The reference to vertical exposure can be critical for you fulfilling your customers' expectations. If you install a storefront vinyl sign using 700 high performance black vinyl, Avery warrants that application for 6 years. If you use vibrant blue, it's warranted for 4 years. You can see how these companies like to change the variables on their warranties. Okay, this is one of those, probably one of the worst industries where warranties are basically based on colors, based on mounting positions. That's what you're seeing right here, effective vertical exposure on the outdoor life expectancy of vinyl film. Now, what's interesting, we're talking about an Avery 700 high performance vinyl. Oracle's general warranty defines a vertical application as one that deviates less than 10 degrees from straight up. Anything between 11 to 45 degrees from vertical carries a reduced warranty with an outdoor life expectancy half that of the vertical application. Now, guys, I'm not making this up. I want you guys to do the research. Again, I'm going to put the link here. You can check it out. But this is really interesting information. It really proves just how convoluted all this information on warranties are with vinyl. And what's really scary is if you're doing projects for you or if you are doing commercial grade projects, keep in mind all of these warranties affect your work. First and foremost, I don't know of anybody I've ever met, honestly, to take advantage of a customer's warranty aside from actually getting raw material, meaning getting the vinyl in the rolls or sheets that you're purchasing and actually being reimbursed because the product was inferior of some kind. Dealing with warranties where you're saying you're worrying about failure, I can tell you right now, it's so different in each climate, and I can prove that right here. Outdoor durability of printing ink on vinyl, they cover in detail what they claim to be available in the sense of what will last for years and years without fading. Again, as sign makers have moved from using vinyl primarily in plotters to using it as a digital printing medium, there has been some confusion about the predicted outdoor life of a printed vinyl graphic. Orajet 3951, which you guys, everybody knows of Oracle. It's probably the most monopolied vinyl on the market. It's available everywhere from US Cutter, Sign Warehouse. Probably every distributor has some sort of Oracle vinyl. Is it good? It is very good. However, the reality is you're paying for a name, and as we cover this more and more, you're going to realize where this gets kind of shady. Orajet 3951, for example, is rated for 10 years outdoors and is suitable for use with a Mutaw Eco Ultra ink. Now, what's interesting is they're saying here it's rated for 10 years outdoors. As we come down here, that does not, and not is bold black print, mean that an image printed with this ink on 3951 will last 10 years without fading. What it means is that the vinyl will last for 10 years before it begins to shrink, crack, yellow, or peel. Well, guys, guess what? If it doesn't mean that the ink will last 10 years without fading, whether the substrate it's printed on fails is irrelevant, because once it becomes illegible, it's illegible regardless of what failed, whether it be the vinyl itself, the substrate that the ink is on, or the actual print is gone. So once again, all of this is useless information. You've just basically washed the information you've just read, and now you can start looking at how these manufacturers manipulate what reality is. Reality is they test the film on a substrate, they see if it sticks. If it sticks for a certain amount of time, they do a time study under their controlled conditions, and once them controlled conditions are met, that's where they place a warranty upon it. The thing I ask you to do is try to claim a warranty based on controlled conditions that you don't even know exist. You don't even know those conditions. So rather than worrying about going out there, and this is another really interesting part of this whole warranty thing with, again, using some of the best vinyl in the industry, because again, it's flooded the market. If we look over here and we see Zone 1 full warranty, this is covering most of the U.S. If you're down towards the southern part of the U.S., 75% of the warranty is covered. Now, what's interesting is when you're purchasing Oracle vinyl, you're not seeing them say any of this. You have to search for this information online, which again, it is available, but it's not available when they're actually trying to market the vinyl to the layman. It's available if you do your homework or you know the market, and you can see exactly where these warranties are at best just a farce. I mean, there's nothing here that's really applicable to anything, because what they'll tell you is, even if you're up here in Washington and I live over here in Florida, and you see this big giant red that says you're going to get full warranty, who is going to warranty the image? Is Oracle going to warranty an image if you use printed vinyl and print everything on it, and your print is fine but their material fails? They're going to ask you, well, naturally, what conditions did you mount it in? Did you follow all mounting procedures? There's so many variables there that they can test you on before they're going to reproduce anything, or even reproduce that piece of material that failed. The best thing you'll get out of it is possibly a roll of vinyl. Okay. The secondary thing you have to realize is there's vendors. So when you're buying direct from a vendor, they're not going to give away raw material free. They're going to want to see proof of what's happened. And again, if you have an unhappy customer, you can talk to them. Once that vinyl has been printed on, I can tell you right now, there's not a distributor in the U.S. that will fulfill a new vinyl order in the sense of replacing a bad roll of vinyl, particularly if you're halfway through a roll and someone contacts you and says, hey, you know what, my vinyl failed. I mean, it is what it is. I'm telling you right now, look and really do your research before you leap, because these type of warranties are really what's muttering up the industry. You can see here where graphic production can really be confusing. I don't care what kind of vinyl you're using. Again, I deal with mostly printed graphics, but Oracle, again, sells a lot of just general colored vinyl. And what's interesting here, when you read and go through all of this information, it's going to open up a lot of questions of, well, what's actually covered? Because when you go through suggestions for vehicle wrap owners in this area, rinse the vehicle every morning to minimize deposits. Wash the vehicle at least once a week with a very mild soap. What mild soap? I could be using Dawn. One person's Dawn is another person's Meguiar's Show Car Finish. I mean, again, all these variables are different, and the thing to keep in mind, and I cannot emphasize this enough, is that they are holding the cards when it comes to these warranties. So you, the end user, believing that there's some sort of, protection against using their best products, it's non-existent, guys. Best bet scenario, you might get reimbursed. The truth of the matter is, as you go through articles like this, it's going to really make yourself ask yourself, what questions am I actually spending on? What am I looking at going through here to buy? Is this actually the best product, or am I actually looking at a product that was designed under certain applications, under certain variables to give me a desired result, but only if I follow that. If I decide to mount, and this is really good here, if you read right here, it says awning and windshields are typically slanted on a 45-degree angle. Vehicle hoods are, of course, horizontal. Both of these variations intensify the exposure to the sun's rays as they beat down on your vinyl from above. Lest you think the good folks at Avery Dennison are just being picky, you should know that Oracle makes the same stipulation. They're telling you that basically, again, even your mounting positions. I just can't get over this. This information is so interesting because so many people don't know this. Once you guys go over this information and read it for yourself, it's going to really, really enlighten you to what actually is real. Again, here they have click here to view or download the Oracle General Warranty. Okay, which again, this warranty is available. And again, you guys should look at this, because if you are doing anything for actual professional use, where you're using this for your actual business, you should know these warranties backwards. If you do not, you certainly can't offer something like that to your clients, because again, they won't know what's real and what isn't, and they won't know what you're willing to cover. The bottom line is you're buying a raw material. Okay, and in my industry, if you're applying an ink to that raw material, you are the end user of that raw material, and you are actually creating the product. They're not going to go back to Oracle and ask them to warranty the product. They're going to ask you. So my suggestion to you, being the actual producer, the manufacturer of your own graphics, if you're doing printed imaging, I would recommend you learn these warranties backwards, because once you see this kind of information and you actually go over it, it's amazing what you actually find out. Because what you really find out is they warranty is basically whatever they choose. They pick and choose where they warranty. Climate zone 2, Central South Florida, Central South Texas, New Mexico. I mean, it's all BS. It's all BS. The best thing you can do is pick a quality vinyl that works with your substrates, and basically go through that vinyl, see how it reacts with your substrates. A quality manufacturer will offer a sample print package letting you test the products. Now, again, I myself cannot offer free sample printing packages because I have to pay for my product. Okay, and my overhead is kept low by not having a brick and mortar store or taking out mass quantities of products like Sign Warehouse. So in order for me to be competitive with them and give you a product that I'm proud to offer, and I can tell you right now is every bit as good as Oracle, would be for you to actually say, hey, you know what, I'll test the products and see exactly what you're getting. Overall, the reality is that with Oracle, 9 out of 10 times you're paying for a name. I've seen Chinese vinyl, I've seen everything from import vinyl all the way up to Europe's vinyl, and I can tell you right now, coming from a manufacturing background, you're always looking for a product that'll perform the way you expect it to for your application. I don't care who makes it, I care about what application I'm using it for, and does it meet the criteria of what I want. When people ask me about warranties and I point them to something like this, I hope it explains to them enough information that makes them realize a warranty is subjective by the end user or the company that they're working with. And that's exactly what you're seeing here. So hopefully this video is covered in detail enough to make you guys a lot more aware of what you're dealing with when you're paying these high dollar amounts for more or less the same material. You know, the big thing to be concerned with, I think, with most vinyls, regardless, is consistency. Quality is always led with consistency. Oracle has a huge factory. They do have the consistency. There's no doubt there. You're paying for that. Okay, every one of you are paying for that. Every one of you are paying for Sign Warehouse and all these other distributors to do that. Oracle has some overlaminates that can be over $300-400 a roll. To me, that's a little ridiculous, because more or less, unless you need a very heavy overlaminate or a certain application, to pay that kind of money is just ridiculous. 9 out of 10 times, a medium grade overlaminate to a liquid overlaminate for people that are just looking for moderate protection will work absolutely fine for most projects. So again, keep that in mind. Look and pick carefully, because again, there's a lot of misinformation online and a lot of information to once again make these products look to be the end all be all, when it's interesting. Even if we come here and we see the explanations here for calendared and all the different types of vinyl, when you come up here and you go into Sign Warehouse themselves, and we come under vinyl, and you go into all these different links that they have, you can see if these actual explanations are there, and they're not. Okay, unless you search for these, you're not going to find them. And a lot of people just look at the actual years associated with the actual warranty, and that's what they dictate everything to be. And that's why I say you guys got to do the homework. You know, I'd rather you contact me, bother me, and let me answer any questions you have, because I'll tell you right now, I'll come to you direct. I'll let you guys know the truth, and we can go from there. And you can do your own homework. You know, I mean, that's the best thing to do, is test the product, see what you like, see what works for you, and you're good. All of my products feature permanent grade adhesives. Again, permanent grade adhesive, just so you guys know, again, I covered this in the last video, but a permanent grade adhesive will adhere to the substrate and will form a maximum adhesion within 30 days. Once that maximum adhesion is achieved, you have to remember that the odds of you being able to remove that vinyl without damaging the substrate is very minimal. So you always want to make sure what you're using. If you're looking for something that can be removed, if you're looking for something that, you know, again, for compound curves, there's lots of different material out there. Just be aware of what you're buying. And that's what I hope you've gained from this video, because, again, I do get questions all the time asking about quality, asking about different warranties, what I can apply this to. Again, vinyl pretty much applies to any substrate. The big question here is how it's prepped. If the application is prepped properly and it's degreased, you'll basically be able to apply it. The only contingency would be, of course, if it's got a lot of compound curves, of course, you'd have to deal with the fact of what kind of graphic you're applying. Smaller graphics will go around curves a lot easier in certain aspects. So again, there's a lot of variables there. Overall, the big thing here is that you understand what you're dealing with when you're dealing with these larger corporations that are trying to prove to you that theirs is the best. Because I really seriously suggest you do your homework on all of these vinyl warranties and so forth, and then see exactly what actually makes sense for your application. So hopefully you guys have learned something today. And again, I will put the links to Sign Warehouse's explanation for the outdoor durability for vinyl signs, so you guys know. And again, it says vinyl signs, but if you're doing graphics, decals, bumper stickers, I have a lot of people doing mugs now. If you're doing that type of work, definitely want to read this, and definitely want to sit down and, you know, do some soul searching in the sense of what you're actually purchasing, because a lot of times you're purchasing for applications that you think you're buying the best product, when in essence you're paying a lot more than you have to. So really look at that, and hopefully, again, it's been helpful, and hopefully it saves you guys money. You know, I mean, that's overall what these videos are to do, is to educate and, you know, lead you guys in the right direction. Once again, I'm Vince over at CG Vinyl Studio. I'll put the link to my eBay store in there. If you guys have any questions, message me. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Take care.